Every bull run has a story. Sometimes it's technology, sometimes it's liquidity, but every few years, it's politics. And right now, whether we like it or not, crypto is turning political again. Because when money becomes information, control becomes the message. We've seen this movie before. Every election cycle, the same pattern repeats. Politicians suddenly start talking about innovation, freedom, and empowering the people. They mention Bitcoin in passing, they tweet about blockchain, and for a few months, the financial future becomes a campaign slogan. Then, silence. But this time, something feels different. Because now, crypto isn't just an idea. It's a voting bloc, a lobby, a generation with money and memory. And that changes everything. The world is heading into a new election season. The United States, Europe, even parts of Asia, all entering years of political realignment. And under all the speeches and debates, there's one quiet battle that will shape the next decade. Who controls the rails of digital money? That's what's really at stake. For years, governments laughed at crypto. They called it speculative, dangerous, criminal. They thought it would burn out on its own. But it didn't. It grew, adapted, evolved. And now it's too big to ignore. In 2020, politicians barely mentioned it. In 2024, it's in every speech. By 2028, it'll be a core policy. That's how power works. First they dismiss it, then they debate it, then they try to control it. Let's look at what's happening right now. In the US, the conversation isn't about if crypto should exist anymore. It's about who regulates it. The SEC wants it. The CFTC wants it. Banks want it. Politicians want to claim it. Because the one who writes the rules owns the future. And when elections come around, rules can shift overnight. A single candidate's stance can change how billions flow. In 2020, one tweet from a president could move markets. Now, a campaign statement about Bitcoin can move entire sectors. That's the new political reality. But here's the twist. Crypto is starting to fight back, politically. For the first time in history, the industry is organizing itself like a lobby. Super PACs in the US are forming around crypto voters. Campaign donations are being tracked on-chain. Even mainstream politicians are being graded by their pro-crypto score. In a world where digital money can fund movements instantly, crypto isn't just watching politics anymore. It's participating. That's what people mean when they say political alt-season. It's not about coins pumping because of memes. It's coins reacting to policy, to promises, to fear and hope at the same time. In the last cycle, liquidity drove price. In this one, regulation will. Because markets don't just react to numbers anymore. They react to narratives. And there's no narrative bigger than an election. Let's take the United States, the global stage for financial influence. One side talks about freedom, innovation, and decentralization. The other talks about security, control, and compliance. Two sides of the same coin, literally. Both know digital assets are the next frontier of power. One wants to integrate it. The other wants to regulate it. Neither will destroy it because both need it. That's why you see both parties suddenly interested in blockchain policy. Because behind every speech is the same realization. The next monetary system will be digital, and whoever defines its rules wins the century. Meanwhile, central banks are rushing to launch their own versions of money, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They call them efficient, transparent, modern. But let's be honest, they're about control, programmable money, trackable transactions, instant policy enforcement. Every government wants one, not because it helps people, but because it gives them leverage. So while politicians argue about crypto innovation, they're quietly building their own digital systems behind the scenes. And the irony? They're using blockchain technology, the very thing they once feared. So we have two forces colliding: decentralized freedom and centralized control. Bitcoin versus CBDCs, code versus policy, privacy versus oversight, and it's all wrapped inside political theater. That's why this moment matters more than most investors realize. Because the next bull run won't be driven only by liquidity, it'll be driven by legislation. The narrative isn't number go up, it's who owns the rails. And it's not just America. In Europe, the MiCA framework, the Markets in Crypto Assets Act, is quietly reshaping how tokens can operate legally. In Asia, countries like Japan and Singapore are balancing innovation with safety. Even in Africa, new fintech regulations are merging with crypto adoption. Every region is writing its own rulebook, and investors are watching closely. Because every new regulation creates winners and losers. Every legal definition decides which projects survive and which vanish. That's the new form of alpha. Not technical analysis, but political awareness. Now let's talk about the emotional side of this. Politics isn't just about policies. It's about hope. And markets run on hope. Every campaign cycle brings new promises. Financial inclusion. Freedom to innovate. Protect the little guy. They say the right words, and retail investors hear what they want to hear. That's how narratives are born. A rumor becomes a headline. A headline becomes a movement. And before you know it, coins start pumping because someone shook hands on stage. It sounds ridiculous, but it happens every time. In 2016, it was blockchain revolution. In 2020, it was digital gold. In 2024, it might just be sovereign innovation. Different names, same playbook. So how do you survive a political alt season? You stop chasing noise. You start watching policy. Because while everyone's watching charts, the smart money's watching committees. They're reading draft laws, listening to speeches, tracking donations and appointments. Markets move before rules change, but only if you see it coming. That's the edge that most traders ignore. Political foresight. And make no mistake, the next big crypto catalyst won't be a tweet or a tech upgrade. It'll be a headline like this: New Digital Asset Bill Passed. Stablecoin Act approved. Bank licenses granted for token custody. That's what will unlock the next wave. Because policy gives confidence, and confidence brings capital. The money doesn't move until the rules are written. Once they are, it floods in. But here's the paradox. The same regulation that brings money in also builds walls. It limits what's possible. It tames the chaos, but also the creativity. That's the trade-off of maturity. Crypto wanted legitimacy. Now it's getting it, but at the cost of its wild freedom. Some will see that as a loss. Others will see it as evolution. Either way, it's inevitable. So what happens next? The short answer: every major election between now and 2028 will shape the next phase of crypto's identity. It's no longer just a market. It's a political instrument, a mirror of power, trust, and influence. The long answer? We're entering an era where code and policy will merge, where laws will be written as smart contracts, where citizens will vote, not with ballots, but with wallets. That sounds far away, but it's already starting. The future of money will be programmable. And the real debate is, who gets to hold the keyboard? So next time you see headlines like, "Candidate supports crypto," don't just smile. Read between the lines. Ask what kind of crypto they mean. The free kind, or the controlled kind. Because every promise comes with fine print. And in this cycle, the fine print will define the future. Political alt season isn't about new tokens. It's about new power structures. It's about how technology forces politicians to choose sides, and how those choices shape markets for years. So while traders look for the next meme coin, pay attention to the next election instead. Because history shows money always follows power. And this time, power is about to change hands.